Saturday, it's a Saturday. It's Saturday the 6th of December. It's about 20 past 8. And I'm literally 5 minutes round the corner for this next job. So, well, 5-10 minutes, whatever it is. So yeah, let's get in there for 8:30 and get a bit done. I don't mind the old Saturday working. Do you remember when you was younger? I mean, certainly for me when I was working on firms when I was younger, or I was working for people, you always put a Saturday morning in every week. That was just the way it was, really. You know, you do your Monday to Friday, and then certainly one boss I had was really good actually, and that wasn't plastering, that was roofing. Then when I was younger as well, I used to do flat roofing. I was just a labourer, but I learned it. So I learned how to do felting with the you know, the hot part, the bitumen with a mop and the felt and all that lot. So yeah, I did a lot of that. But every Saturday we would go and do a little job. He would save a little tiny job for us, and we'd be done by about 11, 12 latest, and we get a full day's money for that. And he'd take us down the pub for maybe a meal or a pint as well. In the good old days when you had nothing else to get home for except getting ready and getting back down the pub again. Had no wife then, had no kids. It was just literally myself to look after and just go and do what I wanted for the weekend then. So from that young age I've always been into getting up, going to work Saturday morning, and I still sort of feel that now really. I never generally would give myself a really hard day on a Saturday morning. It's always a fairly light day. Like today I'm just doing a little bit of decorating, so it's not strenuous on the body at all. I'm also working tomorrow just to get a little job done. It's a little ceiling repair in the lounge. The lady sent me a photo of it, and there was a split in the ceiling, and the first thing that obviously makes you think is, what's gone on with that ceiling? What is the problem? So I messaged her and I said, have you had a leak? You know, why is the ceiling like that? Ceilings just don't go like that, because I didn't want to get there and find out they'd had a big leak. And sorry mate. So I didn't want to get there and find out they'd had a big leak, and then I got to start ripping more plasterboard down because it just looks like a tiny repair. But anyway, she said her husband's put his foot through the ceiling from the loft or something like that, and it seemed, I don't know why, because it seemed like it was a dining room. She said it's a dining room, so I don't know if it's an upstairs dining room. But I thought obviously that he's probably getting decorations down, I would imagine, and if it is a dining room, they're probably going to want that looking pretty nice for Christmas. So I said, look, I could squeeze it in on a Sunday, but that's the only time I've got really, so she's happy with that. See you on the job. Right, so here we are back in here again. I prepared all this two or 3 days ago. All these walls all needed filling, and just because it was all bare plaster, it just needed some priming, undercoating, so that's all done. Got a load of filler across here. Basically it feels like someone's rubbed it down. I don't know, couldn't have done. I think it's just me where I've just put it on. Anyway, load of bonding all filled in here, just a touch in. A bit of filler there, not much to show really. And then this paint here is this colour again, so we're having the chimney breast done again, obviously round here, and then round to about there. And then this is the polished pebble, which is going to go into there after. So shelves are going to be stained, so I'm going to take all them off first anyway. So just a load of odds and sods really. So let's just do it, and then I'll show you after. I won't show you the procedure or the process because I don't think it's going to be that interesting. So anyway, I'll see you later. Right, it's 2 o'clock now, Saturday afternoon. I'm just literally going to pop home, have a cup of coffee and quickly get something to eat. And then I'm going to go back to that job where I did the shower tray with this curved surround. I'm going to take the screws out of that and just tart about in here a bit. Right, I've had a bit of lunch. It's now 10 to 3, so I'll just pop to that other job and get that done. And that's me done for the day then. Come on you lot, hurry up. Here we are again. Hopefully I won't be too long here. I should only be pop in and out in, I don't know, half hour if that really. Anyway, I always say anyway, don't I? Anyway, right, it's 10 to 4 and I'm all finished now for the day. 10 minutes and I'll be back home. Yeah, 10 minutes and I'll be back home. He's a really nice customer actually, that man. He's interesting fella. He is, I believe, a professor, or he was, he still is I suppose, a professor of marine biology. And during his career he used to go all over the world in them subs, you know, them little submersible things where you get bolted into. He used to do that, but that was, I think his career was like through the 70s, 80s and 90s. So very brave man going down in them, but interesting as well. He's got a load of character. He's really got a good sense of humour. Yeah, it's nice when you get nice customers like that, and they appreciate me as well, you know. It's funny, they think I'm the clever one because I can do all that, but you know, they're the geniuses in my eyes. I mean, we've all got our own purpose in life, and getting covered in shit is mine, but I enjoy it. I worked in a house once, and the old boy that lived there, his job was like computer programming in the days when computers were literally in their infancy. And he told me, well, back in them days the computer was so big that there was a door in the back of it that they had to go in and warm it up and prime all the valves up. He said it was as big as like a small bedroom really, this computer. Amazing, isn't it? And now I'm talking to you on one that's probably more powerful than that. Also, I once worked in, I forget his name now, Dominic something. He was in Mamma Mia. Worked in his place down in sort of Camden, Primrose Hill that way. I don't know if any of you know that area, Primrose Hill. It's quite sort of like the posh part of Camden really. Yes, and he was just in between filming Mamma Mia 2. And we was working round there, me and another bloke. And he was absolutely, well, he didn't say it, but he looked absolutely bored stiff. He was back home in London. He had nothing to do. He just popped down the shops, popped down to Tesco's. He said, "Do you want anything, lads?" We used to say to him, "Yeah, I'll tell you what we want. You can get a paintbrush in your hand and help out if you want." And we had a good old chuckle about that. But yeah, no, he was alright. He was quite a nice lad, really. But it just shows you, like, these people, you know, they're good looking, they're successful. Probably got a few quid as well, but they got nothing to do because they're in between, you know, filming. So you can understand how these people get into mischief with their free time. I suppose it would drive you all into that really. You've got nothing else to do. Who else have I worked round? I know there's other people I've worked round. I worked round a bloke's house once. Well, I say bloke, he was a young lad. That was in Camden as well. He was good friends with Amy Winehouse and Pete Doherty. He was a musician, and actually, give me one of his records. He had a record, and I think Pete Doherty played on it. I wasn't really into that sort of music, but he was a complete heroin addict. But he was a nice young bloke, but he was just obviously a bit screwed up, really. He died in the end. Sorry, it's not a happy story, but it just shows you. You know, Amy Winehouse obviously died. He died. Obviously, Pete Doherty didn't die, but he was just part of that clique that used to go out around Camden. Really, it's quite sad. He was absolutely paranoid. He wouldn't let anyone in his flat. It was a rented flat. I think from what I could gather, his dad was funding his life. Every time he wanted money, he was ringing his dad up. I won't say the name of him because I don't think it's fair to name him. But he was just part of that little clique, really. But he never got the success. I worked around the house years ago when I was a kid. I mean, I was young. I was probably about 16, 17. And me and my governor at the time, we worked for, or he worked for damp proofing. And we used to do a firm would go along, a couple of blokes would go along, take off the render up to a metre. Then they would inject it, do all the damp work. And then me and my boss, old Dave, we would go and render it back up and skim it, and that's how I learnt to plaster. I learned by doing that sort of work. And we went around the house, and it was a big farmhouse, huge, like with paddocks in it. And the bloke that was living there just seemed like a really regular, run-of-the-mill sort of bloke. And I could see at the end of the lounge, I think we was working in one end, and I could see at the end of this lounge, on top of the telly, was a photo, and it looked like, do you remember the old Little Woods pools, and where someone holding the big check, giving it to the other bloke, you know, you're holding it each other. And I could see something, and I said, Dave, I've got to go and have a look at that. So I went down to this front room and I looked at the check. I can't remember the figure on it, but I know it was like 1 million. It was definitely 6 numbers, maybe more, you know, like 1 million and something. And in the end, this bloke opened up to us, and he said what it was all about. And he said, yeah, I won the pools. He said, but now I'm so bored. He was a builder. He said, I'm so bored now. He said, I don't know what to do with myself. He said, I've had like all my holidays. I've been around the world. He said, I miss work. I miss working with the lads. He said, I've got like some horses out here. I think his wife and kids were in the horses. So he said, I look after the horses, muck them out. He said, but other than that, he said, I don't know what to do with myself. So it just shows really, you know, when a working man does win a lot of money, it's probably great for the first couple of years. You know, you get all your little dreams done and out your way. But after that, it must be hard. What do you do with yourself, really? I don't know. Just get a better trowel, a better van. I think that's what I'd do. I definitely had hair transplant. I'd come out here looking like Jedward. Jedward with a trowel. Anyway, I'm really talking crap now. I'm at home, and I'm going to go in now and sort this video out for you lot maybe tonight. Have a good weekend. I'll see you soon.